Hello, I'm Dr. Lori Baruth, and I teach clarinet at Morehead State University. I'd like to help with the All-State audition for bass clarinet, and this is a video about the Rose 32 etude number 13, the slow one for bass clarinet for the KMEA auditions for 2021. It is the pickup to measure 41 to the end, and this is your chance to showcase your phrasing, your ornamentation, your dynamic contrasts, and to maybe put a little rubato in to make this a little bit more expressive and make it more yours rather than strictly metronomic and on the page. We'll have to do that a little bit more on the faster etude, but for the slower one, this is your place to really make some musical nuances happen. On the bass clarinet, because you'll need to breathe pretty often, depending on how loud you are, you probably will want to take some breaths in a few places where there may be some slurs, but just do it in places that make sense musically. There are a couple of good places you could take them, but go ahead and use eighth notes as pickup notes to give your music forward direction and keep the momentum of the phrase going. So this is Rose 13, number 13, measure 41 to the end. So that's a little bit of how you may play the slow excerpt for the All-State audition. Again, the bass clarinet takes tons of air, so at the very beginning you have to come in mezzo forte. Make sure you take in tons of air, really fill up around your whole rib cage front and back, and make sure you really use the air that you take in. It's marked mezzo forte sostenuto. Again, try and shape your phrases with some nice tapers at the end of the phrases. Be gentle with how you start the phrase that has the piano marked where the trills begin. And I find with the trills to the grace notes, especially on all the large rods and keys on the bass clarinet, trill, for example, the C sharp to the D, but then maybe like for a millisecond, stop trilling and give yourself just a half a second to do the grace notes. So you're not trying to trill into the grace note. It's a little bit sloppy sounding on the bass clarinet with like the keys. So I try and do that definitely for the first trill. When you need to go to a couple of the high Ds, I would just remember that you want to use enough air and you're thinking about the pitch before you need to play it. And for the C sharp and the D, on the bass clarinet, you have the spatula key, you can half hold it, but actually on the one that I have, it works without doing it until you start getting into like E flat land. But so anyway, the C sharp and the D are there. Be really snappy from B to C sharp, whether you choose to slide down on the bass key or lift it, that's okay. And I use a lot of right side Bs. So for example, counting back from the end, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 measures. There's a B natural on that bar and the previous one. I try and use my right pinky B, which is down here, because it keeps everything on one hand. It's a little cleaner technically to play it that way. So try and incorporate the fingerings that make the most sense. For example, when you have a chromatic scale, 2 bars before the piano and the trills, make sure that you use your correct chromatic fingerings. So we're looking for, your fork fingering for the B natural coming after the A sharp and those things there. So just use a lot of air, fill up the bass clarinet. Most people make the mistake of playing too timidly and not giving it a lot of air. And so challenge yourself to see if you can really push the air through in a very fast focused air column. Keep your embouchure very steady and have a lot of fun. This is a fun one. So enjoy. Thanks so much.